All right, getting back into it with the demons. So demons. We talked about on the last video that or the last podcast that demons are negative forces. It's a force that can move through things. It wants to be, of course, in a place where there is a charge already so that it can take over and control the charges and create a living space for itself where it can control the intensity of the negative charge. And it can't do that in a couch. It can't do that in a inanimate object. It has to do it in an object that has a life force that's able to move. And that's you and me. So we talked about how we have these demons, what they're looking for. Now we got to talk about how we gonna get rid of them and how they affect us. Well, let's go into a little bit how they affect us. How they affect us is I said before, there's ways that you can tell when somebody has demons. At least one. You can tell because the most obvious way you can tell is through incompetency. And when you see blatant incompetence and you go, wait a minute, this person has sense. Why are they just in this particular area? They're just incompetent. They seem incompetent. It's like when a person comes to you and tell you all this crazy stuff about they're in a relationship with someone and they're constantly complaining about the dumb stuff that the person does, but they don't realize how dumb they look complaining about it every day or every other week about some different experience. They don't realize they are showing their own incompetence by dealing with that. So that's a form of incompetence. Just in blatant incompetence, that's what you'll see. You'll see somebody who has maybe a degree, master's degree, whatever. They have all these degrees, they have all this education, but they can't seem to translate that into a better financial situation for themselves or a better relationship situation for themselves or whatever. They can't really translate anything because the demons will lock off. See, what happens with most demons is they turn off parts of your brain that will enable you to rectify situations. And the one thing that they really turn off is your ability to logically conclude. They just hit that switch where you can't use logic anymore. So then you see that little silence part there. That's me clearing my throat because I don't know. I guess I woke up with a little cold or something this morning. But I'll be all right as soon as I start moving around. But anyway, yeah, so they'll hit the switch, the kill switch on your logic, and you won't be able to logically conclude. And another thing about demons, I'll get back to the logic, but another thing about the demons, another way you can tell somebody has demons is high irritability. They're just irritable all the time. They're irritable about anything. A normal person would not be that irritable about something, but they're irritable about menial things. And what they used to say back in the day is if somebody snapped, okay, they did something and they snapped and they just went, they just overdid it handling the situation, right? Where even maybe they took somebody's life or something really dramatic or really way over the line, exceeded the limit to an enormous level, right? So therefore, that's how you can tell when somebody has a demon, when they exceed the limits. They will exceed the limits on how to handle certain situations. Like it's really uncalled for the way the situation is being dealt with. Like, hey, you left the Coke can, you left the top off the Coke or Coke, Coca Cola. You left the top off the Coca Cola. Those of us that drink soda, you left the top off the soda. What? What? Why is that? What? They just go bananas, right? You're like, what is the problem? Telling this person so they can correct that behavior, right? But the demons want that chaos because that the infusion of different, the shake up of the electrons, the shake up of the molecular situation in the body, that gives them new access to new electrons and new atoms and everything. They can shake that situation up and still be able to try to maintain or intensify the negative charge in the body. So that's why they don't want you to come to a resting position or a position of peace. Right? So once you see, so when we see high irritability, when it's really uncalled for, we see blatant incompetence. I mean, just blatant incompetence. And we know this person has some sense, but we just see blatant incompetence. And we just, when we see these things, we have to say to ourselves, this person probably has a traveling companion. I mean, it's just semantics now. You can use traveling companion, demon, whatever. You have something extra, an extra force that's causing and a force that is actually forcing the charge in your body to stay in a negative place by manipulating your hormones and manipulating the electric activity in the brain. That makes sense? That makes sense. So now what? Now what? Now, since we know that these things, and it has a negative effect on relationships, right? You have a relationship with someone, or your children, or your spouse, or your loved ones, or whatever, and because of your negative charge or their negative charge, you're not able to come together, or you're not able to let the love flow because of the negative charges, the overwhelming negative charge, right? Are you passing these charges? Are you passing these demons between each other? Right? It's just a bad situation. Pass them to your children. Children pass them back to you. Pass to your spouse. Spouse pass them back to you. And you're living in an environment where there is a high negative charge. And the cold thing about it is nobody knows. Because what I'm saying about demons is people will just laugh it off. And they say, oh, well, I don't believe there's no demon, unseen thing flying around that can no, we're not talking about nothing spooky. We're not talking about nothing spooky. Just like a virus does not have brain activity. A virus does not have brain activity. It just will do what it do. And so the thing is, what are you going to do? How do you fight a virus? A virus don't have brain activity. You can't see a virus. A virus can still get into your body. A virus can still get into your body and cause damage. Just like a demon doesn't have brain activity, but it comes in and it has its goal. It wants a certain thing. It's looking to be in a certain environment, and it's going to do what it can to try to create that environment and maintain and stabilize that environment for itself. Whether it does damage to you or not is irrelevant, because once the damage is done with you, they can just move to somebody else. Just like a virus, it can just go to someone else. But now we got all that straight. We got all that straight. All the damage. Look at all the relationships that are busted up, and you don't even know why. You can't even figure out what's going on because these demons, or your children that are by the wayside because of these demons. So now, how do we clear the demons? Because even if you do the repair work, What good is you doing the repair work if you can't recognize when those demons are present and be able to clear yourself? So, how do we clear ourselves? That's the key question. Clearing yourself means that when I say clear ourselves, that means we neutralize the ability of the demon to be able to randomly control the level, the charge, the average charge of our body. We neutralize that power, and once you neutralize that power, the demon, it has to leave. It can't stay. It can't. It's neutralized. It's just, to stay is not going to work for it. So, how do we neutralize this demon? The first thing you have to recognize is you have to know when you're working at a high level, when you're working at a demon-free level. So you have to be able to recognize that. So that's why you need to be able to use logic. You have to backtrack your way back to a point where you can think, I remember, I was clear at this point. I was clear. And so these are that's how I was. So now you have to look at your feelings and measure yourself and say, okay, this is how I was feeling. This is how I was moving. And you have to have that picture in your head, so that you can have it to verify and measure it by your current position. Once you can, so after you are able to measure, okay, I'm off here. Then you can start to say, okay, how do I get back? Once you know where you should be without demon activity, then you can start putting together a clearing plan. Now, the thing about a clearing plan, most of them involve waves. It involves frequency. What I mean by frequency is sometimes it's someone speaking. Sometimes it's someone singing. Sometimes it's just music. But it's going to involve frequency. It's going to involve someone moving a vibratory synergism. And once that vibratory synergism goes into your brain and unlocks some of those hormones that neutralize the charge, that negative charge, that's when they're going to go away. So that's what you have to figure out. You have to experiment with yourself and say, what is it? For me, like I said before, it's a couple of things. It's some good music, some good music, what I consider good music, that will get my mind into releasing those hormones, and then also being thankful and giving thanks, or being grateful for thinking about the things that God has pulled me through, in my life, but in particularly the last few years or so, where I've had a lot of tragic things happen, and still on my feet, still pushing along. You know what I mean? Still looking at it, saying, man, it's a blessing to be here. But for me, when I do those two things, if I'm in a bad place and I do those two things, that will pretty much bring me out of whatever, and then I clear whatever's going on with me. But sometimes I have to say to myself, why was I so irritable? Why did I go off on my son like that? Or why did I do this? Or why did I say that? Something that really stands out. And so you have to have the vigilance for yourself, and to be able to see, oh, you know what? I stepped out here. That was way on call for. That was out of, order, the way what I did here. So once you can see that, so you got to always be on the alert, because you know what? If you're not watching yourself, you can go down the road. You can go so far away from where you uh, are normally, you can go so far away from where you are normally that you won't even recognize. And I'm sure I've been there because I was really demon possessed. So that's how I know a lot about this situation. But because I at one point turned around and I saw, man, I said, man, how I saw I walked by a mirror one day and I didn't even recognize the person in the mirror. I didn't even recognize that person. I said, wow, who is that? And I had to accept that was me. But it's because I had let the demons go. And so I would always do what the pressure put me up to do. Right? They put the pressure on you and you think about something and you're not in your right mind. So you think about things that are not right and you just go do them. And they end up creating more chaos. But that's what the demons want. They want you in a constant state of anxiety because all that excitement, all that anxiety gets the blood moving all the time. There's never a calm point in that situation. But anyway, that's another way you can tell that you just walk by a mirror one day and you go, what? Who is that? That's me? Ay. What is going on? Oh my gosh. Something is not right here. See, when you got to be able to, and you got to be honest with yourself. See, that's another thing. You got to be honest with yourself. See, the demons ain't going to let you be honest with yourself. They're going to tell you, okay, you all right. Even though you crazy as hell, they're going to tell you all right. They're going to say, girl, you look fine in that. Go on out in the street like that. They're going to say, dude, you want to assault somebody? That's fine. Because you want that and you should have it. So if you got to assault somebody to get it, then that's fine. See, they tell you crazy stuff like that. Tell you okay. But you're not okay. You got to have the wherewithal inside to be able to know. You got to have a line, a standard where you say, whoa, I stepped over this line. Now I know I'm something, because I normally wouldn't step over this line. So now something is causing me to step over these lines. What's going on? Oh, I probably got to pick up a traveling companion. Let me go through my clearing process so that I can clear myself. And you're going to keep doing this for the rest of your life. You're never going to be immune to demon activity. The best you can do is you'll be able to recognize you can be able to recognize it in other people, and you'll be able to recognize it in yourself. That's the best you can do, and then be able to clear it. That's the best you can do. You're not going to be able to say, demons ain't never going to get to me. Once you say something like that, you're done. Your goose is cooked, because they might already have you, and they'll be able to get to you, and you won't even know why your life is falling apart. And you'll think you'll be able to blame all these other things. It's the white man. The white man is tearing my life apart. Oh, it's this, it's that. You'll be looking for a boogeyman everywhere instead of saying to yourself, hey, man, I have control over this situation. You have control. You can't have control. Those of us that can think for ourselves and move for ourselves, we have control. There's other extreme situations where the person don't really have control over the situation and need other people, outside people, to assist in the clearing. But most of us can clear these things on our own. We just have to make up a procedure to clear them, where we can use this procedure every time and and make adjustments, every now and then. But mostly it'll be a clearing procedure that you follow that will clear it, and then you might, okay, good, I'm clear. Now I'm back to myself. So, yeah. So clearing these things, I would say is pretty much 3-step process. What you want to do is you want to follow a clearing procedure. I told you, for everybody, it's going to be a little different. Some people, it's going to be music. Some people, it's going to be speaking. Some people, it's going to be speaking and music. Some people, it's going to be singing. Some people, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. The point is, after the clearing procedure, you'll recognize that you don't have those negative feelings, and you'll recognize that you'll feel better. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, and you're not being guided by this negative force that's trying to get you to do all these crazy things so that it can keep you in a state of high anxiety and frustration. Next thing is, this is the tough one. You have to analyze the threats nearby. In other words, where did I get this from? You have to recognize where am I picking stuff up like this at? Sometimes it's easy. You picking it up from coworkers or in a place where you're coming into contact with lots of people every day. But let's just think about it in a pandemic. We're in a pandemic, so some of us are not going into the office anymore, or limited exposure to people. But we still got these feelings, so something's happening. And sometimes we're going to have to accept that we have a spouse that's bringing that into the house. Or our children are bringing stuff like that into the house. So we're going to have to be able to accept that and be able to also confront them with that. Acceptance is an important part of the situation. See, we're going to have to accept the fact that our family members are bringing these things into this house. And we're going to have to help them clear them. And it's a difficult conversation to sit your family down and tell them, you know what, family, we are bringing demons, and we are introducing demons to each other in this house. I'm pretty sure that most of them, if they are contemporary thinkers, they're probably going to laugh you off or just not even consider you. Maybe you need some special help or something like that. They're not even going to consider what you say, and that's another way you can see the demons ain't going to let them even consider what you're saying. They won't even consider it. It's not even going to be something they will be able to be considered themselves to be able to say, you know what, maybe he's got a point. That they won't even be able to do that because the demons won't let them get there. So how do you deal with that? That's a question for yourself. How do you deal with that? Some people will just live with it. Just live with the fact that, there's a certain amount of incompetence that I'm going to have to deal with living with these people. Some people are going to have to deal with this. Some people are going to say, I can't stay here. If you guys are not going to follow me down the road of, getting unenchanted with these demons, then I have to go my own way. And so that's what they may do. I seen people walk away from their family. I was like, how come this person walked away from their family? I said, man, that was pretty selfish of them. But when you get into another realm of thinking, you see that it's more about how they want to spend their life. Some people are willing to deal with incompetence, and some people are just not willing to deal with blatant incompetence. I mean, people make mistakes, I get that, but blatant incompetence where the person that's possessed wants you to they're so far gone they don't realize that they're asking you to live with the incompetence. They to them there's no problem. So it's just like I said, it just depends on the person. Some people love the people enough, not love them enough. What I would say, they love them and they don't want their fear of not having these people in their lives is more important than that means more to them than dealing with the demons. They'll take the people with the demons rather than not have these people at all. And then there's some people that say, I don't care. I love these people, but if they're not willing to walk with me down this road, then I got to lead them back. I got to lead them back there. Kind of like Lot, you know what I mean? Hey, Don't look back. You got to walk with me. Don't look back. If you look back, I got to leave you here. Right? So it just depends on the person. But that's something you have to accept. You have to determine that for yourself. To put that on somebody else, that's not right. You have to think about that for yourself. The next thing is, once you accept the fact that these people are bringing this stuff into your home, and you even are bringing this stuff into your home, and you can neutralize it for yourself. The easiest part is neutralizing it in yourself. The hard part is neutralizing it in other people, or making them recognize they need to do something to neutralize this situation. So how do you do that? How do you set the situation up to where you can do that? The thing is, you can't neutralize this for them. They have to want it neutralized. So if they don't accept that they have it, and then accept that there's a way to get rid of it, question is moot. As Jesse Jackson used to say, the question is moot. Don't make no difference to the situation. They're going to continue to just keep bringing them in and intensifying the demon activity until it just gets to a point where it's just your life becomes unrecognizable, right? Most of our lives have become unrecognizable. We have to get to a certain point where we go, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what, coming out of high school, I didn't think I was going to be doing this type of employment or doing this type of things, or I didn't think I was going to be on this road or having served prison time or having to I never thought I was going to be in this situation. But here we are. Okay, so we've been through those things, but now we got to look around and say, okay, there's more for our lives. That's why we're still here. There's more for our lives. Our lives should be in a better place. We should go to a better place in our lives. So how are we going to do that? Well, we have to neutralize these things that are causing us to be held back and keeping the fear in our life, because all of this is over fear. All of this is over fear. The fear and the anxiety and everything, that creates fear, and the fear is the hormone that changes the charge in the body, and that's what is doing all of this. So how can we neutralize all of that? That's the thing. It's hard to do that in another person, because another person has to accept what you're saying. They have to, first of all, they have to accept it. It has to make sense to them. They have to accept it, and then they have to understand that, okay, this has to be cleared, and they gotta want that. So there's many levels that have to be addressed before you can. So that's the decision you have to make. Are these people worth you going in and going to them and saying, I need you to sit down with me because I got to talk to you. This is some real shit right here. I got to talk to you. This is our household. The reason why we're walking around here and not talking to each other and everything is because we got these demons between us, and we're repelling each other. And so we got to stop. We got to clear this stuff so we can start coming together as a family, as a unit, as a whatever, friends, or whatever your living situation is. Right? Because the point of this life is to experience the pleasures of life and be able to get through the pains in life, and learning how to use what the Creator has given us, the tools He gave us to overcome the things that we have to struggle with, right? Struggling is not a bad thing. Struggle is ordained for. Makes you stronger. You go in the gym, you struggle with the weights. You go, in relationship, you struggle with one relationship, makes you better in another relationship if you're able to use that. You struggle is good. You struggle with discipline. Discipline is something that struggle with, but when you get discipline under control, your life gets so much better. But like I said, it's an ongoing process with most of us. Ongoing process where we have to learn how to use self-discipline for our benefit. So anyway, like I said, yeah, you got to, you got to follow the clearing procedure. You got to analyze your threats, and you got to prepare to neutralize the threatening people. You have to be able to sit them down and say, hey, we got to put a plan together to get you clear. All right. We got to put a plan together to get you clear so that we can make this work, make this household or this relationship or this whatever come together. Now, you won't be able to do stuff like this. Now, I'm not telling you to go on a job and say, "Hey, Jim, you got demons. Come in here and sit down." I'm not telling you to do that stuff on a job or with people you're working with that's not in your home. We're talking about people that's in your home. That's in your home. It's people that you live with these people. You eat with these people. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you going on the job and saying, "Hey, Bob, yeah, you don't want to go on the job and say, "Hey, Bob, uh, if you don't let me clear you of these demons, I'm gonna go to HR." You don't want to do something like that. No, we're talking about just the people you come in contact with in your home. All right. So that's the clearing procedure. That's what you got to do. You got to accept some things about what you're doing. You got to accept. You got to accept that you have a demon. You got to accept that you need to clear that demon. You got to accept the fact that that demon is causing problems in your life. You have to be willing to examine the situation and see for yourself what's going on. If you don't, these demons will tear your life apart. And you'll be sitting around saying, "Man, what happened?" Or you'll be looking for a boogeyman or something crazy. You have to, look inside yourself and determine what is good for you. Some people are successful and they're bad people, but it's not that God's rewarding their evilness. It's just that they just know how to play this game. So it doesn't matter if you're evil or a good person. You know how to play this game, and I mean game. I'm talking about the capitalism situation. If you know how to do that properly, when I say properly, I mean advance yourself to where you can control your advance. Then it doesn't matter what you do. Your behavior, as long as you can get other people to be nice to other people, right? If I'm a bad person, then I'll hire somebody to be good to these people and treat them good. You know what I mean? So they just look at it that way. So just because you see a successful person doesn't mean they're a good person. They just have figured out how to work this game. And that's what we need to do. We need to know how to work this game. But first we got to figure out, see, that person that is me, they understand that they're not good with people. So they do something about it. We, on the other hand, most of us don't analyze ourselves like that. We don't think, "Man, I'm not good in this area. I need to get better at it, or get somebody in here to help me get better at it, or, hire somebody to make me, to cover down on that." So that's what we have to do. We start thinking like people that are successful. They don't make excuses for their shortcomings. They just deal with it. "Oh, I'm not good at this. Oh, my teeth are bad. I'm going to get them fixed," or this or that. Whatever it is, the situation, they will just handle it. And that's what because they accept it. And we have to accept demons are in our lives. They are going to be here. They're not going to go away. The only thing that's going to make them go away is us. We have to make them flee by creating a situation where they're not welcome and they don't feel welcome. So, but you can't do that if you don't recognize that they're on you. You don't recognize that they're there. You won't do anything about it. Okay? I hope that cleared up the demon situation. I hope that gives you an idea and the cost that it may cost you to get rid of those demons. It may cost you a family member or two, because they may not accept that that what you're saying is right. They may not accept that. They may say, "You know what, you crazy. We're good. Everything's all good." That's probably what they will say. And you got to decide what you're going to do from that point. So it may cost you. Some people have had to walk away. Some people have had to say, okay, this is, you do you, I'm going to do me, I got to go do me. And that has happened. Other people have said, you know what, I can't walk away from these people. They need me. I got to do this, or, so I'm going to accept that there's going to be this certain amount of incompetence in my life behind these people. It just depends. It depends on where you're at internally. If it makes sense to you to push the issue, push the line. All right. For me, my life was already swirling out of, out of control. And when I realized this, I mean, I recognized in the middle of the free fall. I said, "Whoa, this is what I you know what I mean?" So I didn't have to hit the ground already, but I saw in the middle of the free fall what was going on, and I set everybody down. But that's me. That's me. You know what I mean? So, and I continue to sit them down. I continue to analyze everybody and do a thorough examination of everybody on a weekly basis, because I want to make sure that you're not bringing nothing in my house that's going to cause a problem. So, but that's me. My situation may be different than your situation, and at least I can get the people, they know me, and at least they can get to at least talk about it and discuss it. Where they may, I don't know, they may in their heart be like, man, this dude is crazy. They may be doing that inside, but at least in my presence, they're actually discussing it. But anyway, that's my thing about the demons. I'm going to try and put some worksheets together for that. Like I said, when I get a website or something where I can actually have you come in and download all of this information, and you can use it to help your family, and download it and help your family to do better. Just being able to, I don't know, man. I mean, I can just tell you what I did. I'm not the end all be all, but for some people, my way might help them. So I will try to put that down into something written down, so that it can be more easily, to be studied. All right. But that's, like I said, that's me. You guys tell me what you think. All right. Till then, take care of yourself. Peace.